Guys, here we are again, much like before, with the nice, awesome lighting in my bedroom, in one of my places that I live in different places, travel a lot. Anyway, what can I say? So if you want to understand credit repair, like if you really want to understand it, you need to watch this full video, because I'm going to go over like literally everything that you need to know, all of your concerns, all of your doubts. Now I'm going to clarify everything for you so you have a better understanding. My goal, I had to shut this drawer here. My goal in this video is to bring light on the industry and basically help you understand it better. That's it. That's like my sole intention here. Not to sell you on anything. Whether you sign up or not, it's not going to change anything. But the main thing is you have full understanding of what's really going on. Okay, so the basis of Pinnacle Credit Repair, Pinnacle Credit Repair is my business's way of repairing credit. Is basically number one would be consumer laws, your consumer rights. Okay, it all boils down to your rights, and we have to understand, why are the laws put into place? The laws are put into place to help us, to provide checks and balances of basically tyranny and error. I would say those two things. From creditors basically misusing or basically, being predatory, like predatory lending. Truth in Lending Act was, designed to bring truth and transparency to lending. That way consumers know what they're paying for. That way usury laws, not overcharging people for interest, stuff like that, ripping people off. There's a lot that comes into play, but it really boils down to doing the right thing. So in the West, in America, we have this thing called common law, our unalienable God-given rights, our United States Constitution, even though it might be misconstrued often or not even enforced or even practiced, and some people might call you a constitutionalist and a far right, or it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it comes down to your God-given rights. So our nation, when you look on the quarter, when you look at the dollar bill, when you say the national anthem, in God we trust, okay? God, the belief of God, this Abrahamic teaching. This religion, this video is not about to get religious. It's about to get real, okay? The values we have as American citizens are based upon God, okay? Common law. Common law is basically right and wrong. Places around the other world, if you're an immigrant watching this, you probably know this. If you go to Asia or, the middle, wherever, you're not going to really have Africa, maybe South America. Actually, South America is different. It depends upon what part of the hemisphere you're at. You would have these truths, these social truths. And unfortunately, around the rest of the world, you're not going to find these values that we have. And this is why America is where it's at, and why it is what it is. It's the greatest country of all. And we have a system called credit. Now, in the realm of credit repair, we have these laws to basically protect us from doing the wrong thing and creditors doing wrong things to us. And then the gray area, which is error. Because both sides, consumers and creditors, can make errors, okay? Now, that would be the basis of our effectiveness, okay? Another foundation of our effectiveness is our efficiency in reporting, okay? Because you have to understand how credit reporting is done, okay? To repair credit, you don't need to become a lawyer. Legislation has not mandated that yet, and you want to know why? There are more errors on credit reports, a disproportionate amount of credit reports as comparison to traffic incidents and even crime. Imagine if there were complaints in crime equivalent to the amount of errors on your credit report. That would be anarchy. That would be just disorder. So that's the number one reason why credit repair, you don't have to have a lawyer. It's because it's just too much. There's just too much to do, okay? Why do you think all these processes in credit repair are automated? Because there's too many complaints. Whether they be frivolous, erroneous, or unauthorized, or just flat out crazy. It doesn't, there's just too many. There's millions. There's about 400 million citizens, right, in America. Now imagine how many errors. There was one series on, I think, ABC News like years ago, maybe 15 years ago, something like that, where this lady had over 700 errors. 700? Yeah. It was in the hundreds of errors on her one credit report. So if you look at 700 times one person times 400 million, or approximately, let's say 350 million. Okay, that's a lot of errors. Who can possibly do that? We don't have the manpower to do that. And so it has to be automated. So we have these things called eOscar, and we have these things called ACDV, Automatic Credit Verification Dispute Systems, that the bureaus use. They're internal processes. It's just an internal processes that the bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and TransUnions use. So basically when you send any complaint via mail, they respond to you automated. And you don't really get to talk to a human being. Okay. The thing about Pinnacle is that we get your case, we get your dispute to a human being. Okay. And basically that helps you. So 2 things in credit repair: understanding your consumer rights, and then being efficient at transferring that complaint and getting the response back quick. Because from you sending out that dispute to it reaching the appropriate person, there is a window of time that is not efficient if you do it in the mail. Then when they receive it and they send it back, they're going to use that paper trail through the mail system. Why? Because their system is automated, right? Their system is automated, and that's the only way they know how. And we could paint a bad picture and say that they're doing it deliberately or not. It doesn't really matter at this point. I think that the bureaus are doing shady stuff. They're doing bad stuff. But at the same time, I have to be unbiased and not paint that bad picture. Look at Andrew Tate, for example, why he's locked up. 1, he's a criminal. And 2, not to get off topic, but it has direct relevance to this specific video, okay? And I want to talk about it, and I want you guys to understand this because it's really important, because our consumer rights need to be protected, and we cannot misconstrue them as taking advantage of the creditors, because these laws are to protect both parties. Fair play. You can't just defraud creditors and rip them off and then erase stuff. That's another reason why credit repair is mandated in a certain way with the Credit Repair Organizations Act, and that's why your disputes have not been fulfilled the proper way, because they have the right to defend their position too. If you're not disputing it in the right way, it's going to be rejected. It has to be fair, honest, and clear and concise with your consumer rights. The problem with that is a lot of consumers are not well versed into the specific violations on their credit report, and they're really not skilled in transferring that case to the bureaus in an effective way, and they get discouraged when they get these letters. They don't know what they mean, and it's a defense mechanism that the bureaus have to have in order to protect their interest. Otherwise, they're going to lose money, and this whole industry is just not going to get fixed. There is a case that you need to understand. There's been several cases. Why I just talk about this recent one with Experian. The CFPB has been going after that. For those of you that don't know, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been going after the bureaus for supposedly being negligent. Do I believe the bureaus are negligent? Yes, it's a fact that they are. There's too many complaints. Why? We can't say 100% we know. I think it's a mix of both, because 1, they're not efficiently technically advanced to do so, and I don't know when that will be. I really don't, unless AI is taking care of your case for you. Imagine that. Do you really want to talk to a computer about your case? You're doing that right now. So where was I going with this? Jesus. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's just too much. So they are doing it because 1, negligence. Negligence for what reason? Because they're overloaded? Yes, that would be the number 1 reason. And then 2, The reason why they're overloaded, they don't want to deal with your crap, so they're not giving you the fair play. And consumers are sending out so many familiarized letters. It doesn't matter if you're legitimately having problems on your credit report, which you have the right to dispute and correct as they are in error. And the bureaus are saying, you know what? A part of your letter or your dispute is recognized as a frivolous or erroneous dispute, so we're going to throw it over here. Boom. And if you really want it, and if it's really a problem, it will supersede those processes and go to the higher, formalities and verification process, blah, 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 blah. That's a part of what they're saying. And so you have to understand that. You have to understand their defense mechanism, whether for good or evil, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change so much, but you have to put your best foot forward and be the honest person and be like, okay, well, there's a legal process to go through this. There's a formal process to go through this. If you go the conventional route, as what we know is the mail, it's too long. It's too long and it's not effective. So there are other routes. Pinnacle Credit Repair has mastered those routes and those mechanisms to repair credit. And there's departments that we know internally how the bureaus work. If you're a TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian watching this, we know how you work. We have people inside that know what's going on. And it's anything new. It's been around for a while, since, the 80s. My partner, previous partner, original founder of Lexington Law, he basically, in full transparency, showed me how this whole, industry works. Okay, and you notice that, I'm trying to be as formal and unbiased as possible. So the main thing is your rights. You need to be well versed in your consumer rights, and you basically need to be efficient in sending that information to the bureaus, getting them to send it back quick to you. And the only way they're going to send it back quick to you is if they believe that there's a problem, and if you send it to the right person. If you send it to a computer, which you probably, I'm willing to guarantee you are, okay? If you're not getting any correspondence back within a 30-day period, you're most likely sending it through the mail and getting a computer system default response. That's not what you want, okay? Here at Pinnacle, 2 things. We're masters at your consumer rights. There's 5. I've made videos about this. Maybe I'll leave a video in the link below. If you're interested, click on it, watch it. Your consumer rights, I'll just name them right now. Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collections Practice Act, Fair Act and Transaction Act. Fair Credit Billing Act. Okay. Did I say I said Fair Debt Collections Practice Act? Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Those will be the big one. And then you got TILA, Truth in Lending Act. You have the Dodd-Frank Act, which is applicable to specific mortgage violations. Like when you're applying for a mortgage, in the process of applying for it, there are compliances. And you can extrapolate on which of those, compliances that they didn't follow or was not right, So, yeah, it takes a genius to do that. It takes a really skilled, experienced person to find those little kinks. It's like a mechanic. When you have a problem with a car, all of us own a car, right? I own a motorcycle, Harley Davidson, 2000 cc motorcycle. So yeah, you might find that there are several things throughout your life that you've found out about a car that you never even knew existed. Well, the same thing exists with credit repair. Okay, it can get, you need someone with experience that's been through this day and out, that's dealt with lots of cases and had success. No credit repair expert is perfect, but you have to look at their success. Like if you look at sports, basketball, look at all the top champions, boxing, Floyd Mayweather. Even though he has a perfect record, doesn't mean he didn't get hit. Doesn't mean he almost went down and hit the canvas. Same thing for basketball. I mean, Michael Jordan has had some losses too. He's had some steals, stuff like that. Soccer, doesn't matter. Whatever sport you have, your winning team, okay, has to have a higher amount of success versus defeat. Now, just like all the winning teams, like basketball is not free, boxing is not free. These are all businesses. and you have to pay to play. Meaning, if you're going to sponsor or get sponsored or even be promoted, you have to be benefiting that organization by monetary means or by other means, endorsement, stuff like that. Same thing with Pinnacle. We have companies like hardrates.com, badcredit.org, and mind you, they're not getting any money from Pinnacle. We're not paying them and they're not paying us. So that raises the question, why? Why would cardrates.com? And if you are a smart person that knows what SEMrush is, you'll be able to understand and look at website traffic. And then you'll be able to realize this is big. This video might only get 27 views in like 10 years, but it doesn't matter because YouTube is not our avenue of getting business. It's just a recent thing that we've done. And you could be like Logan Paul, which provides absolutely no value to people but entertainment, and that's precisely my point. YouTube is an entertainment vehicle. It's an attention arbitrage vehicle where it's not so much the quality of education that you're getting, but it's just the fact that you're entertained. So if you find this video boring, you might have already left or might not even share it, but it's totally beneficial for you because it gives you value, but you'd rather choose something else to watch because it gives you that dopamine hit, right? And so these famous YouTube credit repair gurus are doing that. They're giving you these, buzzwords. They're distracting you, okay? And these other credit repair companies are distracting you, okay? They're taking too long. Like, have you ever waited at a dentist? In the waiting room, they have candy, they have a TV, because it's supposed to disrupt and lower the perceived wait time. While you're waiting for Lexington Law to repair your credit, they're distracting you in different ways with their technology, with their customer service, blah, 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 to make you become less impatient. But if you're a grown-up and you realize that, hey, in 30 minutes, what can I do? Am I going to watch this stupid TV show or do this or do that, or am I going to do something productive? Well, you don't know when they're going to call you unless they tell you. So you can't just leave and come back. By the time it takes you to get to the car and go to the gas station, they're probably already calling your name. Have you ever been to the DMV? Same thing. It takes a while. No one likes waiting for anything. And it's not just the time, it's your perceived it's how you perceive that time. So Pinnacle Credit Repair knows that. We don't want to distract you with nonsense. Instead, we want to arm you with information, data, and education and support to help you fully understand your process. Because when we take on clients, we don't 100% know exactly what's going to happen. But what we can do is have a really good approximate idea of what most likely will, and then bring that certainty to you. And as the case goes on, we identify those points of difficulty, of surprise if there's surprise. There's rarely surprises, but they do happen. But that's the beauty of Pinnacle. It doesn't matter how difficult a case is. We work on it until the bone. We go all the way in and we don't give up. And eventually we do have success. And in that process, people give up and they go somewhere else and they waste their money and they get all pissed off. But that's immature because they only value what they get in return. I know that as a business owner. They only value what they get in return. So that's our challenge. That's our challenge, to provide you those results, to get you those, to fulfill your demands. You guys are the customer. We are the service provider. So the pressure's on us. You think, I want to repair your credit as fast as you can, or if not faster, because it helps our business. This is how we keep the lights on. This is how we pay rent. This is how we pay our staff. We have some wonderful staff here. It's not just about artificial intelligence, even though our service that we provide here is pretty awesome. It's pretty efficient in the fintech space. But we do have a staff here, and they got to eat too. So anyway, your consumer rights are something that you need to be very versed in. Okay, and then the efficiency of sending those disputes back. Otherwise, it's going to take too long. Okay, and we can't just try to do this on our own, because you're probably going to do it the wrong way and you're messing up the industry. And you can't just go and make these frivolous disputes and these complaints, because it's going to make it so much more harder for us to get, because I can tell you in the past 10 years, credit repair, 5 years, credit repair has gotten more difficult. Why? Because the whopping amount of disputes and the misuse of information from all the people online that are trying to teach you how to do credit repair. Just leave it to the professionals. When you have a flat tire, when your engine fails, okay, when your bathroom drain to your sink or whatever is plugged, you're going to go on YouTube and like learn how to do it. Well, if it's simple, but what if it's not? Okay, are you going to try to do surgery on your body when you have a problem with your kidneys or heart? Are you going to really do that? I mean, it's good to know, but are you going to really be the one to commit the surgery on you? Or, you're not an expert. You're not a professional. So just leave it to the professionals. Don't waste your time. At least it's good to know people come on YouTube and you can believe them to some extent that they're capable of a job. Hopefully, you don't want to hire someone that's incompetent. But nonetheless, you're just wasting your time if you want to do this on your own. So make sure that you hire a company that you feel comfortable working with.